Everyone, my name is Jimmy with Swiss Realty here. I help investors find their next buy and hold, BRRRR, flip, short-term, midterm rental here in Columbus, Ohio. And in today's video, we're going to go over a question that I get a lot, especially when it comes to newer investors. And that question is, what are the different types of financing for real estate investing? And what we're going to do is we're going to go look at the different types of financing strategies that there are. And we're going to look at the pros and cons in each one, do an in-depth breakdown, and kind of you'll see my 2 cents on which one I recommend based on the investment strategy that you're going to be going with. So let's get started with that. So with that being said, first one that we're going to be looking at today in today's video is FHA financing. With FHA financing, this one is a Fannie Mae Freddie Mac loan. So what that means is it's sponsored by the government. So it's from the government. It's as safe as it gets. And on top of that, with this one, you do have to own or occupy. That's a requirement. You will have to own or occupy it. You cannot use it as an investment property where you don't live there. And on top of that, because you're owner occupying it, you can go as low as 3% down. So 3% down, that's as good as it gets, especially as an investment property. That's a steal, honestly. And that's what I always recommend, taking a look at this one if you're going to house hack in this case. The only thing I would say is the only downside I would say with this property, with this type of loan, is that the house does have to be in very near, very turnkey condition. So what I mean by that is FHA usually has some very strict requirements when it comes to financing, and the house has to be, completely turnkey pretty much. And stuff like a broken door, a broken window, water stain on the roof, or water stain on the ceiling, or water in the basement, stuff like that will not fly. And when the appraiser comes and checks the property and if he sees any of these issues, he's going to make the seller remedy them for FHA to provide financing for that property. So the one thing I will let you know is that, and this is again the downside of FHA financing, is that a lot of sellers kind of look down upon FHA for the reason that there is definitely more requirements and financing is a lot more strict there. And because of that, a lot of sellers are like, hey, I don't want to deal with FHA. And because I don't want to have to do another 100+ repairs needed to get financing for this house for that buyer to purchase it. So because of that, FHA typically doesn't have the best rapport, I would say, when it comes to sellers. And it's kind of like their lowest priority type of financing that they will kind of want to go with in this case. I will let you know with this type of financing, it is best for house hacking, okay? So, and the next one we're going to be looking at is conventional financing. So conventional financing, it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac as well too. So again, it's a government sponsored loan. And on top of that, if you're owner occupying it, you can put as low as 3% down. But if you're going to be buying it as an investment property where you do not own or occupying it, like you buy it out of state or you are not living in the property, you will need to put 20 to 25% down in this case. And the other thing as well too is with conventional financing, it does need to be in near turnkey condition as well too. I will let you know that conventional financing is a lot more lax, and it's a lot more lax than FHA. So if let's say a seller was looking at a FHA loan and a conventional finance loan, I'm just going to be upfront and honest with you. More likely than not, they are going to go with the conventional finance loan because again, conventional financing, it is a lot less strict in this case. When it comes to the condition of the property, it still has to be near turnkey. It cannot be like a major gut job where it needs 6 figures in renovation, that there's water in the basement still, that there's knob and tube in the basement, all that stuff. Obviously, stuff like that won't fly. But if the house is a little outdated, it needs some cosmetics, the kitchen's a little ugly, the bathroom's a little ugly, but it's overall a lot of cosmetic stuff like this, it will pass for financing all day, every day. So that won't be an issue. And with this as well too, typically will take 3 to 4 weeks to close, which is very normal for traditional financing. And the other thing I will say too is conventional financing, it's best for buy and hold investment properties. And if you have 2 years of work history or a W-2 job, if you have those requirements and you're looking to go with the buy and hold property, I'm going to be honest with you, go with conventional financing. That's the way to go in this case. If you're going to go with the buy and hold rental property and you have a solid W-2 or 2 years of work history, this is the type of financing I would definitely recommend in this case. On the other hand, so this is DSCR financing. So DSCR financing is very similar to conventional financing. The only thing is that this is non-QM. So what non-QM means is that it's not a traditional type of financing. And instead of using your debt to income ratio, it will use the property numbers. Like, for example, it'll look at the NOI, the debt service coverage ratio, the debt service. And as long as the NOI is more than the debt service by a certain percentage, that's the most important thing that matters. They don't care about your, how much money you make. They don't care about your debt to income ratio. None of that matters. It's more about the property than about you, the individual. And with this one, you typically will need to put 20-25% down payment for a DSCR loan. And on top of that, it still does need to be near turnkey condition. And on top of that, it's typically 3 to 4 weeks to close. With DSCR financing, the only difference between this one and conventional financing, I would say, is conventional financing is typically better if you have a W-2 job. If you have a W-2 job or 2 years of work history, by all means, I'm going to be honest with you, go with conventional financing. But if you are a 1099 or you are a business owner or you're an entrepreneur or someone who doesn't have the most stable income or you don't have a W-2, or you have completely maxed out your 10 Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loans. So really quick side note as well too, when it comes to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans, pretty much those government sponsored loans that I mentioned above, if you can only have 10 of those essentially. And if you have more than 10 of those, after you get 10, you cannot get qualified for any more, okay? So because of that, if you do hit your 10 loan limit, I definitely recommend looking at DSCR in this case. But DSCR, again, because the house still needs to be in near turnkey condition, I would definitely say that it is best for buy and hold investment properties in this situation. But again, it's more for those people that are, like I said, the 1099s, business owners, entrepreneurs, or people that have maxed out their 10 loan limit when it comes to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And then the very last two types of financing is hard money financing. So this one, similar to DSCR, it's a non-QM loan. And this one is based purely on the property numbers, and it's not based on your debt to income ratio. So with this one, the good thing about hard money financing is that any condition of the property is fine. So you could buy something that is a major gut job, needs 6-figure in renovations. The foundation needs to be completely redone, electric, knob and tube everywhere. That doesn't matter. Whatever the condition of the property is, it doesn't matter. As long as the numbers make sense and the lender sees that and has proof of that, they will finance it. And the really good thing about hard money loans is that they will finance both your purchase price and your renovation. So you don't have to come out of pocket for the renovation. Let's take conventional financing, for example, just to kind of go back to it really quickly. So if you're going to go with conventional financing, for example, obviously they're going to, this loan will finance the purchase price. But the thing is, they don't finance the renovation. So let's say after you purchase a property and you put your 20-25% down, you will have to come out of pocket if you wanted to renovate the kitchen. On the other hand, in terms of the hard money loan, they will include your purchase price plus your renovation into one loan. So pretty much everything is financed together, so you don't have to come out of a pocket for the renovation after you purchase the property. So again, stuff like that, it makes it so much easier for you. And again, you will need much less capital to start with. But the only downside when it comes to hard money financing is that it comes at a very high interest rate. Typically, you're looking at double-digit interest rates, typically anywhere from 12 to 15%, typically for hard money loans. And on top of that, too, because it is hard money, typically takes 1 to 2 weeks to close. And these type of loans are best for BRRRRs and flips and investment properties. The goal of a hard money loan is you want to buy something that is a major fixer-upper. You want something that has tons of equity. So by the time that you finish renovating it, your goal is you want to get out of the loan as soon as possible, whether that's a cash out refinance or to sell it. Your goal is not to stay into this hard money loan for the next 30 years. That's the last thing you want to do. This is the goal of it, is it's a short-term loan and you want to get out of it as soon as possible, again, with a refinance or to sell the property. And then the very last loan or financing type, is cash financing. So with this one, cash is king. Cash is essentially king. I meant to write that instead. Is cash is king, and you can buy anything that you want in any property condition. Like, you are not limited to anything, because at the end of the day, if you have the cash to buy it, no one is going to stop you. And on top of that too, there is no appraisal needed, unlike the other types of financing. When it comes to hard money loans, conventional, any Any of these other types of loans right here that require a bank or anything like that, they will always require appraisal pretty much most of the time, because again, they want to make sure that, your numbers make sense. So because of that, appraisals are usually needed if it's not cash. So with cash, there are no appraisals needed. So that's why sellers will always give the biggest advantage when it comes to cash financing. And on top of that too, because you have cash on hand, you can typically close within days. It's the quickest, close possible. And on top of that too, when you're going to go with cash financing, it is best used for BRRRR and flip investment properties. So again, short term, it's best used for short term, or you can also use it as a buy and hold if you use it as delayed financing. And when I say delayed financing, what I mean is you buy a property all cash, but immediately after you close on it, then you start the loan process to move it into a loan where you would put it into a traditional conventional loan or something like that. But you want to use cash in the beginning, so the seller will give you the biggest edge, especially in a multiple offer situation. But with that being said, these are the different types of loan types. Again, just to recap again, you have FHA. This is best for house hacking. You have conventional financing, which is best for buy and hold rental properties, especially if you have a W-2. You have DSCR financing, which is, again, best for buy and hold rental properties. If you are a 1099 or a business owner, or you've maxed out your 10 Fannie Mae loans. Next one we have is a hard money loan. In this case, this is best for BRRRRs and flip investment properties. And on top of that, last one we have is cash financing. This is best for BRRRRs, flips, or buy and hold rental properties as well too. But aside from that, that is a quick recap of all the different types of financing. Definitely let me know if you have any other questions. I'm happy to answer them. Just to recap off real quick, my name is Jimmy with Swiss Realty here. I help investors buy their next buy and hold, BRRRR, flip, short-term, midterm rental here in Columbus, Ohio. If you have any questions or anything comes up, please feel free to comment in this video or feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help you find your next investment property here in the Columbus, Ohio market. But aside from that, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your time and watching this video. Thank you so much.